All right, guys, welcome back to the Who's Right podcast. And today, no news. So, what's new? Nothing.
Surprise, surprise.
Actually, we do have a trade that we're going to get into, but before we get started and before we get into it, Victor, how you doing?
I'm doing well, here, still waiting. But, I already said this was going to happen. I said January 4th. And lo and behold, we're 5 days later without Yamamoto. And so I'm holding to the January 4th, maybe a little bit before then. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I'm starting to believe you, but maybe not, maybe not. But before we get into Yamamoto, a trade happened. I mean, we got um finally that swing pitcher that we've been missing, a guy that can come and spot start, kind of our Williams replacement, and you know if everything goes right with Yamamoto, that's what he's going to be. If it doesn't go right with Yamamoto, he might be our fifth starter. Who knows? But decent pickup. We've been missing the swing guy. Hauser, forgot to mention, is his name, and really excited about it because we've been missing a guy like this. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's a trade that you can't lose. You lose a guy in Coleman Crow that was already hurt. He hasn't pitched for us yet, and he's a prospect. So getting two guys that are likely to have playing time this year on the major league level is a win, in my opinion. We have a lot of pitching prospects that are easily able to replace the Coleman Crow type. But I actually disagree with you on what type of role that he's going to play on the Mets. I think if we get Yamamoto, I think he's more likely to be the sixth starter going into this year, so that Senga and Yamamoto have somewhere to adjust. Because we all know that they're used to pitching once a week, and having that 6-man rotation might help them. And so I think if not, if we don't get him, if we don't get Yamamoto, I still see us picking up another pitcher this year, whether it's in the trade market or in the free agent market. They just won't be that ace level starter that we were looking for. Because I think there was a report from John Heyman that said that the Mets had their hand in a little bit of every free agent this offseason. They've just kind of talked to them and kept it friendly. But we know what the Mets want, and that's Yamamoto. So I think this was a win for the Mets. This Adrian Hauser guy, he doesn't have the best stuff, but he's a consistent soft contact kind of guy. And Tyrone, not to be confused with Tyrod Taylor, Tyrone Taylor will be that fourth outfielder that we need out there. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think that this doesn't really mean that we're not making moves anymore. Like, we still need an outfielder and we still need another starter to complete this offseason.
Yeah. He's a typical fourth outfielder. You know how we were talking to Michael A. Taylor. He was gonna fill that role. Michael A. Taylor probably right now is a better player than Tyrone Taylor, but Tyrone Taylor's a lot cheaper, and we get the pitcher along with it for what would have cost us with Michael A. Taylor would have cost us a lot more. So we see Stearns in action and kind of doing he spoke to Michael A. Taylor and he said, "Well, I can just get the same type of player, fourth outfielder, right? We weren't looking for a starter. Michael A. Taylor wasn't going to be our starter, and he said, why not just get this guy that I already know, right? Because he was in the Brewers organization, and he says he can do just as well as Michael A. Taylor. And he said, and I get Hauser on with it. And like you said, it's for a prospect. Yes, we just traded for him. We think that he might do well, but again, like you just said, he's just a prospect. So at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen. Coleman Crow could be great, in a couple years down the line, and we see him pitch against us, and we're like, man, we gave up what for him, and but at the end of the day, he's projected to be a fourth, fifth starter, back of the rotation kind of guy, anyways. So it's not like we're giving up a one or a two ceiling kind of guy. You know what I mean? And so I'll do this trade any day of the week.
Yeah.
We kind of solidified our bench. Right now, the only thing that can possibly be traded for is the starter, right? Or
Yeah.
signed. I don't think signed because there are no starter caliber left fielders left, right? Because that'd be the only position available. So if we do make a splash at left field, it most likely will be in the trade. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know who that may be. Are we giving up a McNeil to I don't know if that's going to happen anymore because of Mauricio injury. But we kind of solidified our bench. DJ and Michael A. Taylor are going to head up the outfield and as bench pieces. Wendell is going to head up the infield, and the only two spots left are potential DH slash infielder and Yamamoto, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the only, because we're up to 38 on the 40 man. I don't know. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I would put it this way. Would the Mad fans out there make this trade for an Eduardo Escobar? Would they give Eduardo Escobar for Adrian Hauser and Tyrone Taylor? I would say
Absolutely.
yes. Yeah. And that's what we got in this trade. This guy never pitched for us, but that's who we traded for. We got Coleman Crow for Eduardo Escobar. And if we were to do that last year with these guys, then I would say it's a no brainer in the eyes of us fans, because we already saw Eduardo Escobar play, and he was already on his way out of the Mets organization. But I think to answer your question, I think there's still a hole in left field, but that can easily be filled. And because we still need a starter. We don't have a starter out in left field. But if we don't trade McNeil, I would really like to see the Mets go out and put McNeil out in left field. Or if DJ Stewart starts the year and he's doing phenomenal, start Starling Marte in left field. And we'll see how that works out. But they're options, but they're not the best options. So I'd still like to see the Mets go out and make one of these crazy trades for someone that can fill that role.
Yeah, and I think it's all predicated on the guy we're about to talk to about next. And it's all predicated on Yamamoto. Yamamoto's going to determine what we're going to do next. So, like you said, we were talking to all kinds of guys throughout the off season, but we were waiting to see if we get Yamamoto. Yamamoto's the key to the off season. Been saying it since the beginning, and it's coming to fruition, right? Stearns and Cohen want Yamamoto. Right now, we're in the last lap. I know you said January 4th, but I don't think it's gonna last that long. I think it's this weekend because I don't know if you saw the report. The Giants have been told they're out. They can't come up to the price that they're not coming up to the price that whatever is being talked about. But
And that's surprising to me because the Giants have been trying to throw away money since forever, for the past couple of years. To think that they're not going after Yamamoto anymore because the money is crazy to me.
Well, I mean, they got a few pitchers, and they're really look, to me, I believe they're looking offensively. They need they need some they got Lee, they signed Lee, and I think they probably need to do a couple other things as far as the offense is concerned to bring because the problem with Giants wasn't pitching last year. It was that they were boring, right? So I think they're trying to make sure of that before anything else because they do still got a pretty good pitching staff. They'll probably be in on Snell. I wouldn't be surprised Snell going over there, especially now. I wouldn't be surprised that they pull full court press on Snell before the Yamamoto thing ends. and get some sign before it happens. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I could see them trying to do that if they are looking for a pitcher. Snell's from the up northwest, I think Seattle area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll be a great fit for him. And so I'm not surprised that they're not fully in on Yamamoto because they need offense and they need a spark on offense. Lee's not enough. They still need to add some more offense, some more spark, some more make it not boring. And that's what they're looking for. So I'm actually not surprised that they're not in on them. But what it does tell us is that the it's coming down, right? Everything is coming to an end. It's something's gonna happen.
Yeah. And because you said that the Giants are out because of they didn't want to go up to the price, that is a little hint that Yamamoto, that might be important to Yamamoto. That might be the key factor into what's taking this so long and what he wants out of this offseason. Because we all know we already know the three options. We've explained them time and time again. But if it's money, I'm really curious. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting with Yamamoto to see how much they offered him, because we're getting talks of 400 million, and it definitely could be, but for how long, and what are other teams offering him that much? I don't think the Yankees are. I think they're stuck at 300 million. I don't think they're going to go over that. But
Well, I don't know, but here's an interesting note. James Shiano from the Metsed Up podcast tweeted out this that put out a part of the clause on the posting system for the Japanese players is that the Japanese player actually has to pick the highest contract if it's over 50 million. So if the contract is over 50 million, they actually have to pick that contract.
so wait, on a AAV level or
I think it's
just
total level.
because?
I think it's total level. Because AAV is kind of that makes it a little difficult because
Yeah, no, that'd be
yeah.
crazy. But
Yeah, no, I
I,
think total level it has to be 50 million, something like that. This is the exact tweet from James Shiano. Something somewhat relevant to Yamamoto signing is a double fiduciary duty is one to his agent, like all players, and another to the Oryx Buffaloes, um, and the posting fee below. Whoever signs him has to be in range of the highest offer. If one blows the other offers away, it likely wins. So
mm,
if one offer blows the other away, which we're thinking Santa Cohen is going to blow it away, that means
it definitely can. And the only reason I would say that it might not is because David Stearns, I don't think would commit that much money. And we have to remember it's Steve Cohen's team, but he put David Stearns in charge for a reason. And I don't think David Stearns is going to just spend his money willy nilly. And that might be the only reason. Is what scares me is Steve Cohen says, I don't care about you, David Stearns. I really want this guy. I'm going to spend as much money as I want because it's my team. And that's not why you hired him. So,
every owner has that right. As a matter of fact, Boris is known to go to the owner and over all the GMs in the league because ultimately the owner. So this is not new. This is not something new in sports. Yes, he hired Stearns to put a winning ball club, but if he wants a player and he wants Yamamoto, if he wants a player, he's going to do whatever he wants to do. And guess what? I want him to do whatever he wants to do because I want Yamamoto here.
yeah, and I would say the same thing, but I don't want it to be like a crazy level that we blow the teams out of the water and they're bidding at 400 million as well. And then we don't have any money. Well, obviously there's still money to spend, but there's just a certain level you don't want to pass. And we already saw this happen with last year. It was a couple of year deals,
Look at my
but
face.
I understand, but I'm just I'm being pessimistic here, and usually I'm an optimistic fan. When we're talking about Yamamoto, he's not going to be the key to complete our team, and we're gonna still need to go out and pick more players up. And I want the Mets to have enough money to do that.
Oh, that's not gonna stop them. Come on, we ain't the old Mets. That's old Met thinking. That's Wilpon-esque Met thinking. We ain't that anymore. We're not the Wilpons anymore. We're the Cohens. Let's go. It's a new time. You know, he's already shown that he spent some money and he's willing to eat contracts. We're not the same organization anymore. Yeah, it didn't work out. It's all right. It didn't work out. And I don't think we're going to be spending like that like we did. But this is a special talent. The reason, and everybody's talking about it, the only reason this guy is getting this much love is because he's 25. That's it. If he was 30, he wouldn't be, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it. You're going to see the guys. Once Yamamoto signs, nobody's going to be nearing whatever Yamamoto gets. Right? Not Snell, not Montgomery. None of those guys are going to be even close to what Yamamoto gets. And that's
Yeah,
because Yamamoto's 25. That's the only reason. I'm telling you. We wouldn't be in on Yamamoto like this. The only reason we're on Yamamoto like this is because he's 25.
the thing is, pitchers don't really have a timeline in terms of age when it comes to starting off in the major leagues. You see so many pitchers start and kind of just they start off hot, right? We saw this with um, with um, with Severino. He started off hot and then he just died off because he would he just didn't have anymore. And hopefully he gets that back. But this is the fear that I have with signing pitchers for long-term deals. We've never seen a 10-year deal with a pitcher before. We've never seen a 12-year deal. And that's what we're talking about with Yamamoto because 400 million, if you want to spend that much money, you're not doing any less than 10 years. And if you're doing, and I would say you're even more likely to do 12 years with a $400 million deal. But you don't want to uh, give a pitcher that much money because you don't know how long they're going to last. You know, I just don't see pitchers having that longevity like an average bat does.
No, this is a special pitcher. Hey, okay, let me put it to you this way. This is a special pitcher that if he pans out to be who he's supposed to be, he's going to be worth every penny. You know what I mean? If he doesn't, and this is the risk for any team that signs him, right? If he doesn't pan out, he's going to not pan out right away. Let's say he because I guarantee you there's going to be an opt out in this contract, right? So if he pans out, he's going to opt out of his contract, whether it's in a 3-year or 5-year opt out. Most likely, this kind of contract it'll be a 5-year opt out, and he'll be 30 when he opts out, right? And so he's going to opt out and ask for a 10-year again because he's going to go to a 40, kind of like Otani. He's going to try to pitch until he's 40, right? But I guarantee you, this kind of contract is going to have an opt out where if he is who he says he is, or let me rephrase that, if he is who we think he is and pitches the way he pitches in Japan, he's going to opt out of his contract. Kind of like Senga. Senga's got an opt out on his contract, right?
Yeah, but we're talking about two different types of pitchers here. Senga's 30 and he didn't get an opt out. He's opted out after 3 years. And with Yamamoto, first, Senga didn't have the bidding war that Yamamoto did. This is like our unprecedented territory where
It's
Yamamoto
only because
is,
he's 25.
yeah,
Because
and I
look
get
at
that.
Imanaga. Imanaga's not going to have the same hype, right? Because he's 30.
Yeah, and I get that, but if we're talking about a bidding war here, then we're looking at a war that's going to be player friendly. One, Yamamoto's going to get everything that he wants, but two, if it's up to 400 million, and he's getting 33 million a year for the next 10 years, who's to say he's going to opt out of that? And then in 5 years, when he's not panning out, then what's that going to turn into? It's just going to be like, oh man, we have this money in the books for the next 5 years, and we're kind of just stuck with it because Yamamoto just didn't pan out to what we thought he'd be. And it's just it scares me. That's not this. This all sounds like I don't want Yamamoto. I'd love for him to pitch for the Mets. We saw how much the Mets organization loved pitching in the 2015 era of baseball with Matt Harvey as Batman and Thor and Syndergaard and Jacob DeGrom had his own DeGrom day. So the Mets love pitching, and so do I. But I just look at Thor. Look at what happened to him. Look at Matt Harvey. Look, these are all young guys that panned out. Were set to be great, and then after 5 years, they just didn't have it anymore.
Yeah, you know what? And that's something I agree with you. I can't argue that, right? Pitchers get hurt, players get hurt, but we can't operate in that atmosphere. We gotta worry about that later. You know what I mean? And Cohen has proven that a bad contract isn't going to stop him. So even if Yamamoto doesn't turn out to be who he is, it ain't gonna stop Cohen. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried about it because um, he's gonna have one bad contract. You know, and the only reason we're going like this at this guy again, I'm gonna say it again. He's 25.
Yeah, well,
That's
you
like you
know,
pitching out there.
no, I know, and I feel like I got 15, 20 years of pitching in me, but no, but it's just one of those things. You don't want to see Cohen again spend all that money just to have a team that doesn't pan out the way he thought it was. And honestly, when we signed uh Justin Verlander last year, I kind of expected the season to turn out the way it did because he had two 40-year-olds. So I'm more optimistic if we do sign Yamamoto because he's 25. But
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole thing with the Justin Turner thing. That's why I don't want Justin Turner because he's 40. You know what I mean? I don't want the old guys. I want young guys. I want 25-year-olds. I want 30
yeah,
year olds. I don't want
no,
40-year-olds.
I hear you. The thing is, we still need more pieces. And, with Yamamoto holding things up, I don't think it's gonna affect this the market that much because it's still moving. I don't know why these other pitchers are waiting on Yamamoto to sign. I don't think it's gonna affect their contracts or players if that. I think it only affects the Mets if he goes somewhere else because then we're kind of just punting on this season and giving it up next year. But if we don't, if we do, then we still need some work to do. We still have some work to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think part of the reason why the other pitchers haven't signed yet is that they're Boris clients. And Boris is going to want to get the most for his pitchers, and the only way to do that is to go after the losers of the Yamamoto uh, sweepstakes. I honestly don't think that all the people that lose out on Yamamoto are going to go after pitchers like that. Because I honestly don't think the Mets are in on Monty or Snell or any if we lose out on Yamamoto. And I don't think the Yankees are in on Snell or Monty. I mean, I know they've spoken to Monty, but I see Monty as a Red Sox right now. Um, you know, but the only reason he hasn't signed, Red Sox are waiting for this Yamamoto thing to end. because I don't think I think the two states, I mean the two places that Yamamoto's going to land, it's either in New York or in LA, right? So those are the only two places that I think it's possible. If I'm wrong, I'll be surprised and I'll be like, oop, you know, I wasn't right on this one. But I think it's either one of the New York teams or LA for Yamamoto. So that means Monty in Boston, because I don't think the Yankees are going to pivot and try to sign Monty.
Yeah,
Um, and the Mets aren't going to sign Monty or
yeah.
Snell.
The
And
only
I see
one,
Snell staying in the West Coast. So what else you got? You got Lucas Giolito, but he's just going to get a 1 year deal, right? Because he's coming off a rough second half. So I just don't think. I think this whole thing is because he's 25. He's one of three Cy Young's versions of the Japanese Cy Young, you know he's supposed to be this special player. I think that's the only reason that this Yamamoto thing has gotten out of hand, because I don't think half the guys that are losing out on this are in on the other pitchers.
yeah, and the only thing that I would have, because like we said, we're probably not going to pick those guys up. But one person that I do think that we're going to pick up is Shota Imanaga, and I think that we can pick him up whether we get Yamamoto or whether we don't. So I don't. I feel like I don't know what the holdup on his market is, but I'd like to hear more talk of negotiations or even signing him. What teams are interested in him? We're not hearing any of this stuff because of the holdup with Yamamoto, but I'd love to hear the Mets go out and make that signing because he's going to be that third starter that's probably going to be good for us. We know he's around Senga's age, right?
Yep, yep,
He
a
might be
little bit
30.
younger,
Oh, okay. So even
like a
younger.
year younger. It's
Yeah,
not. It's
yeah.
not that big.
But still, he doesn't have the amazing stuff like Yamamoto. He doesn't have a special pitch like Senga, but he's definitely one of those guys that can be a good piece to our rotation, regardless of what happens with Yamamoto. So that's all I would say with the moves that the Mets haven't made yet. Because if we do go pick up one more pitcher from this offseason, say it's Shota Imanaga, say it's Jordan Montgomery, then I think we're right there in World Series contention if we pick up Yamamoto as well. Obviously, the bats were lacking this year, but that's just a matter of getting them to wake up again because we have the talent on our team. I think we have the bats too.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that we can add another bat. That's why I wouldn't mind seeing the McNeil trade. I keep talking about it. I keep looking for it. And I mean, I mean, Cease hasn't been traded yet. you know. So there's a whole bunch of things that are going to happen once Yamamoto signs. I think Imanaga's also waiting for Yamamoto to sign, and that's why you're not hearing anything. I think teams have checked in on him, but again, everybody's waiting on Yamamoto, right? Because all those teams think that the one, all those, let me rephrase that, all the players think that whoever loses on Yamamoto is going to be after them, and they partly are right, but not all the teams are going to be in on all the pitchers, right? So,
Yeah.
like I said, Monty more East Coast, Snell more West Coast, and Imanaga, who knows? Who knows? That's the only one that I can't tell you who's in on him or not. Could be the Yankees as well, right? Because if they lose on Yamamoto, they still need to fill in their pitching, because they don't, they lost out, they sent traded with the Padres. They don't have Severino, so they do need another pitcher, and so they might be in on Imanaga if they don't get Yamamoto, but yeah, I just don't see all the other teams bidding out crazy. That's why I wish the other part of the market would move forward, because the ones that lose out, it's not going to be a bidding war with the guys that are left.
Yeah.
So I know Boris probably thinks that it's a bidding war, but I don't think it is.
He thinks
But
it's a bidding war for every one of his clients. So that's just Boris for you.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's true. That he does think that. So that's for sure. But before we get out of here, I think we kind of beat the Yamamoto thing to there's not much more to say. But before we get out of here, I just want to tell everybody we're not going to be here on Sunday because it's Christmas Eve. So we'll probably won't record till next week. But want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Hope it's safe, joyful, and a good time. But before we get out of here again, Victor, any last words?
Yeah, the next time we talk, we're probably still not going to hear Yamamoto news. So, Merry Christmas. Don't worry about getting a Yamamoto present under your tree this year. Enjoy it with your family, and we'll see you the next time. Let's go Mets, baby.
Yeah, yeah, guys. Comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, like this video. Let us know who's right. Victor's right. I'm right. Let me know your comments. What do you think? Let us know. Let's interact. But Merry Christmas. Let's go Mets.
Peace out.